I know that you've gotten into the AI art. What is your opinion on AI art?
Oh God, that's a really complicated matter.
Because I find it uncanny and
Yeah,
disturbing.
I mean, I'm gonna stop posting that stuff. I did it as a sort of joke, but I don't like it because it becomes morbid, and well, it was morbid, and the joke I think is sort of worn thin at this point. Um, I put up a few where I gave it a prompt like Avril Lavigne on a date with Millennial Woes, and I thought it was funny. It was a joke, but I don't like the thing itself, and yeah, the images that it produces are often horrible. Um, but then some of them are amazing. I mean, this is a really, I think this is something where we have to be careful not to be Luddites about it. And not being a Luddite about this might require some mental effort. I mean, I think we have, because it is a very new thing. It's like, I can imagine painters, when photography arrived, painters probably thought, fuck, what is this? Now, that might well be something that people have embroidered in retrospectively. I don't really know. But either way, I do have this feeling now, with AI art, that it's making all the skills irrelevant. The things that people spend years and years getting good at, even grammar. Writing is a difficult thing to do. I wasn't as good a writer at the age of 25 as I am now at the age of 40, because it was still quite clunky. My style was quite workmanlike. It wasn't as elegant as I know. The way I write now is better than when I was 25. And that happens because of years of writing. And without those years of writing, well, you just won't develop and you won't become a good writer. But AI then takes all of that away. It nullifies all of that. So you just give it to the AI.
But the thing is, though, like,
so I don't like this. This
I don't
is
think.
like, what about human ambition and talent and skill and struggle?
But I don't think that's actually going to happen because, like, with these AI, I mean, now I'm not someone who actually knows much about AI or anything like that, but from what I've seen of the AI art, it is not reproducing art that would be created by a person. Like, I was the other day when I was visiting Morgoth, he was showing me how this AI art thing works. That you'd type in a sentence and then it would generate 4 images based on this sentence. So you put in like you said, like millennial, like Avril Lavigne on a date with Millennial Woes or something like that. I wrote something like young Canadian guy living in St. Petersburg, Russia, and to see what they came up with. And what was so weird was it must have like searched the internet for like the word Russia or something like that, and it was showing something that looked like the Cathedral of Spilled Blood in St. Petersburg, but it also looked like the Saint Basil's Cathedral in Moscow. It was like a hybrid between the two.
Yeah.
So it must have seen like lots of images of these cathedrals
It's
with
like Brundlefly.
these big
Yeah.
onion shaped domes on them, and they think, this is Russia. But then it doesn't look like either of them. It looks like some kind of hybrid between the two. But if you told somebody, draw a picture of Red Square in Moscow or something like that, they're not going to draw a picture like that. I mean, it may not be as the workmanship, like the picture could be poor, but at least like the idea that they have in their head of what this site would look like if they've seen it would actually accurately reflect the real thing. It would actually reflect Red Square in Moscow. Perhaps they're a poor artist, but you'd still get the idea that this is what that was in their head. The AI does not understand that.
It doesn't have an idea in its head.
It doesn't have an idea in its head of what this is supposed to look like, even though it's supposedly like scouring the entire internet for us.
It knows certain visual elements from scouring the internet that are associated with that location, and it will have the tools to merge and meld these elements and select from them randomly, and then meld those things together. But it doesn't actually know what a building is. It doesn't know what the color red is. It doesn't know what religion is. It doesn't know what a church is. It doesn't know what a human being is. It doesn't know what a human being to stand in a square, what that means. It doesn't know anything. It doesn't know anything. That's the thing. It doesn't understand anything. It understands that the color red is this segment of the hue wheel. like from orange to yellow. It's in between there. But it doesn't actually know what it... So what? Well, what is a colour? It doesn't know what a colour is. It doesn't understand anything. And so when we talk about AI art, I really object to the word art. I mean, you can say AI visualization, AI drawing, AI imaging, whatever. But to call it art, I don't know. I've got this. I've got I've got this romance about art. I've got this idea that art is kind of sacred. Should be sacred because it's the height of human achievement, or at least one of the heights of human achievement. So, is that not something that we should seek to section off from interlopers, charlatans, philistines, and bloody computers who don't literally don't understand anything? Are it like they don't have a human brain. They don't have a brain. They can't do neuron stuff. They can't do parallel processing in the way that the human brain does. They can't conceptualize. So when it happens to output something that resembles something that a human being might output, that's entirely coincidental. It doesn't have the depth of significance and meaning that the human creation does because it wasn't created by a human.
And I feel like it can't conceptualize these things. At least
it can't.
From what I've seen of it, if I was to, draw a picture of Avril Lavigne on a date with Millennial Woes, I think,
yeah.
I don't think it would be good, but I'm not good at drawing. But it actually, like, somebody could look at it and get that from the picture.
Yeah.
Whereas with the AI art, like of the examples I've seen of it, none of it have actually accurately represented what the person had put in.
I mean, in the best case scenario, it would know what Avril Lavigne looks like. It would know what I look like. It would know what a bed looks like. But
come on,
well, whatever.
You're going a bit, you said going on a date with that car. You said going on a date with Avril.
Oh, going on a date. That's right. I thought you said on a bed. Sorry. Whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is, it knows what the elements look, how they appear, and then it can put them together. But it doesn't know what it means. What does it actually mean to be on a date? What are the expectations? What are the fears? What are the anxieties? What are the pleasures? What are the nice areas, the nice bits of it? Yeah. What does it mean to aspire to love? All of it. It doesn't understand anything whatsoever. In the way that the word understand means more than to be familiar with the outward appearance of something. But that's all that the understanding that a computer is capable of. Right? So, I mean, if you're to try to explain a situation to a computer, to a software, you can only do that if it's strictly numerical or it's binary, like true or false, on or off, yes or no. So binary, on or off, or numerical, it's from 0 to 100 and we're at 35. So, okay, it's at 35. So the computer can understand that kind of thing. Strictly numerical or true or false. But it can't understand happiness, fulfillment, hope, fear, death, love, affection. Nothing. And you could go through a 1,000 different human states and a million different shades of existence, and every single one of them is beyond the ken of a computer, and beyond the ability of a computer to ever understand, as long as they are the way they are, just this way of operating, numerical. If we had a computer that was more like a human brain, then it would become much more capable of something that could be called art. But we're not there yet. We're not nearly there yet.
And then it gets even worse when you consider that AI would be, employed in order to make decisions. Like, just think about just think about COVID, like the AI could say, like, well, enforcing this lockdown will save X many lives, and then
again, it's numerical.
Yeah.
See, it can do this because it's strictly numerical.
But like the things you said, like people not like being barred from seeing their dying family
it
member.
doesn't know about
It
ethics
it-
or
it
morals
can't-
or anything.
A computer can't understand any of that.
No, it doesn't understand what right and wrong mean. it just knows numerical, statistical probabilities.
Yeah, so I think we've been going on for quite a while, but I think like we can finish up soon. But I think like the culmination of everything we've talked about is that kind of like the world that's kind of being created. It's just like it's becoming so much less human.
I mean, just one last thing about the AI art. I'm trying to be open-minded about it. I'm trying to retain an open mind so that I don't say something knee-jerk about it. Maybe I don't know enough to comment on it. Maybe I shouldn't be bloviating like this. Maybe I'll learn stuff about it that I don't know just now, which will make me more amenable to it. Also, even if it stays as it is, and my understanding of it is correct as it is, well then maybe it could be useful as a tool for a human being to create art. CGI, the film Tron in 1982, had pioneering special effects. It was the first sort of CGI film, but it was disqualified from the Oscar for special effects because they said they were cheating by using computers. Now, obviously, nowadays that's regarded as ridiculous. They weren't cheating. They were, on the contrary, they were pioneering. They were developing new techniques, new ways of doing stuff. So it was CGI, but it wasn't cheating. And maybe in the future, AI art, or whatever, AI imaging, will be seen in the same way. It's not cheating, it's not fake, it's just another tool that's available to be used. Now, if it is that, I have time for that. I have time for it being used as a tool, where a human being, a human brain, a human mind, you could even say a human soul, decides to use it and augment it and integrate it into something that human being has created. So it's just one tool in the set. But ultimately it's under the control and the governance of a discerning, feeling human being. Well, I'm amenable to that. But what I'm not amenable to is calling it art when it's just what the computer has spat out, and with very little human involvement beyond a brief prompt, like some text. I don't want to call that art. If we call that art, then I think we are really losing sight of what art is, what it should be, what it represents, and thereby we're losing something about humanity itself. What is a human being?
Yeah.
So I think it is actually a very profound topic. It's a very profound question.
Yeah.
If the human being remains the sovereign entity and the computer, the software, is just a tool, then I've got time for that. But supplanting the human being and replacing it with an undiscerning, thoughtless, conceptionless software entity, I don't see that as progress, even if it is more efficient. I think it's fucking ungodly. I mean, and I'm not even religious, but I don't know. Increasingly, I wonder if I am religious. Maybe the fact that I have this strong objection to it, maybe that indicates that I do at some level believe in something. But either way, AI art, I'm trying to retain an open mind, but it's difficult because it just seems so, I don't know, potentially demonic. I mean, it potentially gutting of the human experience. And that's not even to go into the real life effects that it will have of just making unemployed massive numbers of skilled craftsmen and painters and whatever. I think that in itself is a very sad thing. And again, it comes back to the whole thing about post-scarcity, the UBI, and all of that. It's a huge thing.
Yeah,
huge topic.
I mean, I guess I'm not as afraid of AI art necessarily replacing artists. I think it's more just a look into the mind of AI and just kind of how twisted and demented it really is. Like that was my takeaway from AI art. It's that you look at this and this is not art being made by a human being. This is not out of the human's mind, and and not only is it weird, it's it's frightening.
It gets things where like the faces are fucked up and the hands are deformed.
Like I am convinced that if this thing existed in the 16th century, they would have burned this thing down as demonic.
Yeah. I mean, what people as advocates will say is that it's messed up just now. It's producing these erroneous results just now, but it's getting better by the day. I've got an advocate of it in my chat who's quite vociferous about this. He's saying, well, look, compare it to a year ago, even. And it's come up in leaps and bounds since then. I guess that's probably true. I don't think I was quite aware of it a year ago. But so they're saying that it's learning all the time, so it's getting better. So the stuff that you see now that is gross and disturbing will be filtered out as it learns and realizes that this isn't a good result. And I don't know. It's just all creepy to me.
Yeah. And the worst thing is about it to me is that that same kind of technology is going to be used for other things in the future, for making policy decisions. And if that's like the output of art, what it considers to be like something that's supposed to be beautiful, what really comes across as like creepy and almost demonic. Like, I mean, what are the results of what is AI going to produce for policies that we have to live under?
Ironically, it's going to be exactly what the technocrats say. The AI is going to conclude that human beings are really wasteful and they produce a lot of carbon, and carbon's bad. So, well, how to reduce the carbon? You reduce the humans. So, well, there we go. Depopulation. Maybe someone can invent a vaccine or something to make that happen. I mean, you can imagine it coming out with ideas like that, which are just entirely because again, it's been programmed with it doesn't understand anything itself. It doesn't evaluate things. It only knows what it's been programmed with. So, well, who guards the custodians? The point is, I can imagine them using it to supposedly present an objective defense of the ideas that they already hold, and the policies that they already fully intend to implement.
Yeah.
But here we've got let's consult the AI, the Uber Sperg, who's completely impartial.
Well, I mean,
he agrees with us. What a surprise!
It might that might actually end up being the case, because when you have to if the AI is like scouring all the possible sources of information, say on the internet, for
don't trust Wikipedia.
Well, yeah, what it's going to come up is going to use things like Wikipedia and Google.
Yeah.
And we already know that these sources of information already have like an anti-white bias. So the AI's response, if it takes into account everything on Google, maybe the AI can even make like a judgment of like, this credible source is more important than this non-credible source. Who knows? But it's already going to come out. It's already going to be distorted by the false reality that exists on the internet. So the idea is that the policies that an AI will suggest will be colored by the anti-white media, really.
That raises an interesting question. What if AI had come about in a much less politicized age? Let's say 100 years ago, when they were open to certain truths that the people, the powerful, were open to certain truths that they're definitely not open to now. An AI, so an AI then would not have been. They wouldn't have been feverishly trying to stop it from being racist. Right, but today they are,
because that has happened. There have been AIs which have come.
Yeah. So 100 years ago, they wouldn't have done that. They wouldn't. They would have said, "Well, look, it's just being. It's evaluating the data, numerical. It's completely precise. It's completely impartial, and it's determined that if you want less crime in a neighborhood, you should have fewer black people in the neighborhood." Well, that tallies with everything we know. Now, that's what they would have said 100 years ago, 50 years ago. But today it's highly politicized, so they've got to say, oh, shit, somehow the AI's come up with this erroneous conclusion. How on earth could this have happened? There's obviously a bug in the software somewhere. No, it's working perfectly. But they've got to make it now work imperfectly so that it matches up, it tallies with their worldview.
It was even something JF was talking about a while back, that he said that AI might gain the ability to learn human taboos. Yeah. So if it comes to if it analyzes the data and finds that black people commit the most crime and the most dangerous neighborhoods are going to be the ones with the most black people, then the AI will realize that that's like a wrong answer because of human taboo, and therefore give an incorrect answer. Because like, here's the other thing, like going back to like that the world we're living in is less real than ever. It's more fake. The AI is going to be considering the fake world, the world on the internet that exists, like in the metaverse. That's what the AI is going to be considering, and not at the actual flesh and blood world out there.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe an AI will actually believe in the blank slate. They'll actually believe that say that you want to, I don't know, build some a big construction project. The AI won't understand that you should probably hire more men than women to build this thing because they can carry more weight or something like that. Yeah. The AI might end up not actually being able to understand that. So, I mean, I don't like the way I really don't like the way that AI is going. All I can say is that it's not human. I don't know what it is, but I can tell just from like this AI art that it's not something that came out of the human mind.
Yeah, it's not. And I agree. There's this weird alienness to it that is disturbing. Yeah, I just agree with you. I don't really know what to say about it. I think it does seem like, this doesn't come from a human being. It didn't. It can't have. It's just not right. There's something there's something wrong with it. I don't want to be surrounded by imagery like that. I mean, it's bad enough now being surrounded by global homo imagery. The people of flat design.
Oh God,
it's awful. I don't want to be surrounded by AI. I mean, no. But again, I'm aware of the possibility that I'm being a sort of ignorant Luddite and not being patient enough with it, not being open-minded enough. Maybe 5 years from now it'll be incredible. But again, even no matter how good it gets at combining pictorial elements, it's still not got the human brain. It's not got a human soul. It's not got the understanding of things.
You don't get the expression of the human spirit.
Absolutely
with it.
Not. I mean, it will produce an imitation of that, like that looks the same. Like show me a drab cityscape. Well, it can do that. It can, because it knows what a drab cityscape looks like, because other pictures have been described that way. So it looks at them and it produces something of the same ilk. But it doesn't actually know what a drab cityscape is, as I said earlier. So, it's just fucked. I don't know. As I said, I am trying to stay open-minded, but as you can see, it is a struggle. Because and I do think this is something that I should try to remain open-minded about, because I'm against knee-jerk reactions, and I want to get the truth, not my own initial impression of something. I'm aware that could be false and misguided. So this is something that's quite important. So, and it might be even more important than you and I realize at this point. This might become a very, very central part of life. So, I'm trying to get it right. But on the face of it, it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Again, the most dignified use that I could see for this is as a tool that is completely under the control of a human being. Other than that, I think it's dangerous, and I think it's unhuman and anti-human, and it's not art. Whatever else it is, it's not art.
Yeah.
It's not a fucking human being who created it.
Yeah. But I mean, like, the art is just one of the aspects. I'm also thinking about like what this thing's going to be used for above that, and
yeah. And the thing is, people will say, "But you can't even tell the difference. Look how good it is. It's so like." Someone sent me and it's a good guy that I like. I like him, but he said, and maybe he's correct, and maybe I'm wrong. But he sent me he told, I think, GPT, he told it to compose a song about a subject, and it had done that. And then he said, now compose the same song but in Shakespearean style. And it did it. And you can marvel at the technique. That's what's involved here. It's technique. But what is motivating the technique? What is the point of it all? What's the purpose? And the point I was going to make is, people say, but it looks so realistic. I mean, this is a better Shakespearean style song about this subject than a human being would write. Well, okay, it's indistinguishable. Well, that doesn't strike me as a good thing. That's like a bad thing that it's indistinguishable.
You have to put in the word Shakespearean, but Shakespeare was a man.
Yeah.
Like, so you're giving the AI this idea, but like this is something that initially came from the human mind. So
Yeah.
it's not something that's in a vacuum. Which is why, like, I just am kind of skeptical that, like, create the Shakespearean thing. But this is like Shakespearean. That is something that came from the mind of William Shakespeare. It's not something that just came out of nowhere.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm using that as one example,
Yeah.
but you could equally say a happy song about that subject or a sad song about that subject. Well, then it comes up with a sad song about that subject. Okay, and it's indistinguishable from a sad song that a human might write about that subject. Okay, but it's still not. It's still not from a human being. It's an imitation of the surface level of the song. That there is no depth to it. There can be no depth to it because the entity that created this thing has no understanding of sadness. So how can it? It can only ever be a superficial imitation. It's not the genuine article, and therefore, the more it seems like the genuine article, the more disturbing I find it, because it's a very efficient deception.
Yeah, it's the uncanny valley.
Yeah, and so I don't. Again, it just unnerves me. I don't want people to be living in a state of constantly being deceived, where they think something's real, they think it's a genuine, message from another human being, and actually it's just something that was created by an entity that cared not a jot for anything. That's fucking horrible. I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
So anyway, there we go. That's my early 2023 impression about AI.